Want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. We're going to get into this Pistons versus Phoenix Suns post-game show, second game of this West Road trip for the Detroit Pistons. Want to start off with this podcast with the injury report for the Pistons. So, Karis LeVert was upgraded to probable or questionable, I believe. I think it was questionable, actually, not probable. But he didn't play. That's 5 straight games that Karis LeVert has not played for the Pistons. It's something to keep an eye on. He's had an illness. Don't really know what type of illness it is, but he's missed 5 straight games for the Pistons. But to start this first quarter, I really like the aggressiveness by Jalen Duren. He was really cleaning up a lot of the Pistons' misses inside of the paint. Him and Cade Cunningham had a very good game collectively. Everyone else was just kind of ice cold. Pistons did not do a good job of containing Grayson Allen and their 3-point shooters. This is a team that we saw 2 weeks ago, and Grayson Allen attempted 23 pointers. He didn't attempt that many tonight, but Phoenix was just red hot from three. They started the game 4 for 4. JB took a timeout, and they were still able to just generate a lot of good looks in the half court. If the 3-point shot wasn't falling, they were driving to the basket, getting to the free throw line. They were crashing the glass, getting offensive rebounds, getting those second chance points. That usually the Pistons do a better job, but Phoenix was able to have a 4-point lead after 12 minutes of play. It was 35-31. Going into the second quarter, we just couldn't really execute out of the half court. It probably sounds like a broken record by me, but Suns were just playing with more energy, especially in the second quarter and the first quarter. There was just too many empty possessions for the Pistons where it was just one pass, let's shoot a three, one pass, let's just shoot a mid range. I really felt like the ball movement wasn't really there in the second quarter. We were really settling for jump shots. Dylan Brooks was everywhere. Ironically, it was actually Dylan Brooks' villain night. I don't know if you guys saw Suns at a promotion where they were giving out Dylan Brooks villain t-shirts. He was talking with Stu. He was talking with JB, telling JB to take a timeout. Pistons going to half, allowing the Suns to drop 72 points. That is not really a Detroit Pistons thing to do, given this is a very good defensive team, second in defensive rating. But it was 72-56 after 24 minutes of play. Duren did have 17 points at the half, but coming out of halftime, I would say for the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, Pistons came out with a much better effort. The defense was forcing steals. They were within striking distance. Believe it or not, the Pistons were within 3 points after just making steals. Cade Cunningham getting into a shot, getting to the free throw line. Jalen Duren just running the floor hard. But the Pistons have I don't want to say it's a habit, but it happens a lot where they don't score for multiple minutes. Like tonight, the broadcast said the Pistons went without a basket for 6 minutes and 53 seconds. So basically 7 minutes without a basket. That's going to be very difficult to come back after you were down as much as 19 points. You were able to close the third, only being down 12 points, 93-81. Going into the fourth, I think it just got to a point where Phoenix kind of just turned it up defensively. They were getting to their spots. Dylan Brooks was continuing to just have a strong performance and getting to the free throw line and just being a irritant out there. We just had way too many turnovers in the fourth to try to come back in this one. JB got a technical with arguing with the refs. He kind of waved the white flag around the 3-minute and 45-second mark because the Pistons do play again tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors, second night of a back-to-back, which will be an ESPN game for you guys that didn't know. It'll also be on FanDuel if you don't feel like watching ESPN, guys. But had the bench guys in there, Bobby Klitman, Guys that don't really get a whole lot of clock, but the Pistons lose this one 114-96. They will split the season series with the Phoenix Suns 1-1. But yeah, this was a game where I think a lot of Pistons fans saw that Devin Booker wasn't going to play, saw that Jalen Green wasn't going to play, and I thought this was going to be a easy victory for the Pistons. Phoenix is a good team. Like, don't get it twisted. I wouldn't be too upset with this loss. They have 3-point specialists in Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, versatile defenders. They're fifth in offensive rebounding, fifth in total defense. They're a good basketball team. I think right now, if you watch the game tonight, we didn't shoot particularly well from the free throw, not the free throw line, the 3-point line. That's just been a thing with this team where they're not a good 3-point shooting team. They did shoot a lot of them. Phoenix did a very good job of just defending the Pistons overall, but want to get into the box score, team stats, and then we'll open up the questions and comments for a Q&A segment like we do every post-game podcast. But let's get into the team stats, kind of go over, paint a bigger picture of what happened tonight against the Phoenix Suns. So Tobias Harris in 30 minutes for the Pistons had 13 points. He was 5 out of the 9 from the field, 3 out of 4 from 3, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 1 steal. He was a -2 in this one. Hit 20 points the game previously. Didn't really get going until later in the second half. Would have liked to see him score a little bit more. So this little nitpicky by me. Duncan Robinson, 30 minutes played in this one. Another just, I don't want to say a bad performance by him, but I mean, like, if he's not really being consistent with his shots, I much rather probably would have played a Marcus Sasser or a Chaz Lanier, which we'll kind of get into. You could probably see Marcus Sasser didn't get any clock tonight, which is kind of a choice in itself. But Duncan had 9 points, 4 out of 11 from the field, 1 out of 6 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, was a -3. He's just had back-to-back performances where shots is not falling. And I think it gets to a point where, like, if this is a trend and it continues, you're going to have to start playing other shooting guards off of your bench. You guys can see Jaden Ivey played 7 minutes. Chaz Lanier played 4 minutes. Danish Jenkins played 23 minutes. You're going to have to lean towards someone else if he's not hitting 3-point shots, because defensively, we know it's a thing where teams hunt him and they look for switches each and every game. Jalen Duren in 28 minutes had 23 points, 10 out of 11 from the field. It was really good tonight. 3 out of 3 from the free throw line, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 1 block. He was a -1 in this one. Cade Cunningham in 34 minutes had 26 points. Didn't shoot it the best from the field. Got to credit Phoenix for that. 8 out of 22, 2 out of 9 from 3, 8 out of 10 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 steals. He was a -5 in the plus-minus. Sar Thompson in 25 minutes had 6 points, 3 out of 6 from the field, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 turnover. He was a -3. Going into the bench, Paul Reed got garbage time in 4 minutes, 2 points. Isaiah Stewart in 24 minutes had 11 points, 4 out of 5 from the field, 3 out of 5 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds. He was a -19 in the plus-minus tonight. Ron Holland in 17 minutes didn't score at all, had 1 rebound, 2 assists. Phoenix just did a really good job of packing the paint anytime he wanted to try to just score with his floaters and his layups and just driving. I think they understood like what he wanted to do. Bobby Klippman in garbage time got 4 minutes, attempted 1 shot, grabbed 1 rebound. Again, garbage time for these guys in the last 4 minutes of the game. Javonte Green had 11 minutes in this one, didn't score at all either. 2 rebounds. Jaden Ivey in 7 minutes didn't score, did miss a layup in the first half, had 2 rebounds. He was a -9. Danish Jenkins had 23 minutes in this one, 6 points, 2 out of 8 from the field, 2 for 3 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover. He was a -18. Chaz Lanier in 4 minutes didn't score either. And Marcus Sasser was a DNP coach's decision. But you look at the bench, like the bench had so many guys that just didn't score. And that's kind of been like a strength of the Pistons team is their depth. Like the bench just did not bring it tonight, in my personal opinion. Getting into the team stats, we can kind of look at how the Pistons and the Phoenix Suns did. Pistons shot 43% from the field. They shot 21% from three, 6 out of 29. Phoenix shot 16 for 42, so they shot 38%. Pistons only shot 76% from the free throw line. They were 16 out of 21. Phoenix shot 83%. They shot 24 out of 29. Pistons got out rebounded by the Phoenix Suns. It's not something that we come up here often and say that the Pistons got out rebounded. They only had 37 to the Phoenix Suns 47. They had more assists tonight, 26 assists, 8 steals, 2 blocks, 9 turnovers. That's a trend that I do like to see, that they are taking better care of the basketball. They're not having those high turnover games, back-to-back games where they're doing a better job. So if you want to take some positives out of this loss tonight, they're taking better care of the basketball, which you do like to see. They still scored 54 points in the paint, and 2 technical fouls for either side. Tobias got a technical foul, which I was kind of surprised. That was probably the weakest technical foul I've ever seen. But we are going to kind of get into just the Q&A of this podcast, you guys. I'm just going to take a quick break, take a drink of water, go through the comments, and then we'll have a chill rest of the podcast. So if you guys have any thoughts with tonight's game, trading deadline is right around the corner. If there's any players that you think the Pistons should look at with their trade exception or possibly trade for, definitely leave it in the comments section below, and we'll get back to the podcast after I take a quick break. Okay, we are back. You guys, appreciate you holding on tight while I kind of go through the comments with this post game show. Again, Pistons lost to the Phoenix Suns 114 to, what was it again? 114.96. My bad. I already kind of flushed it out of my memory. But let's get into the Q&A of this podcast. So, Sasser can't even get garbage minutes. Yeah, that boy is gone. It's really weird because, like, I know I touched on Duncan struggling, but like when you have a guard like Sasser that thrives in scoring and thrives in, shot making, I'd like to see him get a little more clock. And I know that's easier said than done when you're trying to juggle Duncan Robinson, Dana Jenkins, Jaden Ivey. But like you had 2 shooters on the bench and Chaz Lanier and Marcus Sasser that didn't get any clock tonight. Chaz got like garbage minutes. Sasser didn't play at all. I don't want to speculate. I know it's we get into suspicions when players don't play around trade deadline, and that's to be expected because like every time we scroll the timeline, it seems like there's another trade rumor. And it doesn't kind of like bode well that like Sasser isn't getting any type of time when I think that he definitely has a role on this team. But again, it's easier said than done when JB has such a deep rotation and he's trying to juggle so many guys at shooting guard. But yeah, it's not a good look when he can't even get any type of garbage time when the game was over with 4 minutes to go. But I was kind of surprised to see Dana still out there in garbage time. Why not throw Sasser out there? But it's coach's decision, I guess. Got another question, kind of talking about the Pistons, and it says, as it currently stands, Pistons are in danger of losing in the first round if matched up against the wrong team. So we actually have a podcast coming out tomorrow afternoon, and we kind of touched on what NFZ 2004 touched on about how the Pistons could fare in a first round. I think it's very early, but I do agree if you do get matched up against, let's just say like in Orlando, for example, like if the Pistons play Orlando, I don't know if Orlando's going to fall that deep in the standings, but you never know. Um, I think they will make moves, but like as currently constructed, like if they didn't make any type of moves, yeah, it's going to be tough to execute what you've done in the regular season and try to apply it into the playoffs when we know the playoffs is slowed down significantly. It's a half court game, and this team struggles in the half court. I think last time I checked, they were ranked 19th in the NBA in half court offense. Like we all know, this team loves to be physical. They love to live in the paint. They love the transition, running opportunities, being disruptive on the defensive end. But like the playoffs slow down significantly, and you need reliable three-point shooting. I think that's why so many of us are saying, like, if you do anything at this deadline, use that trade exception, try to target some three-point specialists, try to improve your perimeter shooting. You can't be shooting 20% from three in the playoffs and expect to win. Now, it's January 30th as we're recording this podcast. So like what, 46 games in? I think we have a pretty good understanding of what this team is, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and it's up to this front office to kind of address that at the deadline. I think all of us can agree, like it would be nice if we can upgrade our three-point shooting. Like I like Duncan Robinson, but when he's not hitting threes, it's really apparent what this team weakness is. It really is. But I do appreciate the comment, NFC. We have a podcast coming out tomorrow around 12:30, kind of talking about playoff matchups and some possible trade targets. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. You guys want to get into Richard's comment talking about the second half. 39 points just won't cut it when down that much. Coming back took all the energy of the team, I believe, at the end. I think you're right, man. Like the effort, I think in the first 24 minutes, it was going to be very hard to come back being 19 down, especially against a team like the Phoenix Suns. Like Phoenix is a very good team. Like I don't want Pistons fans to be disappointed with this loss. When we played them 2 weeks ago, it was only, I believe, a 2-point victory, if memory serves correct. Like Phoenix is a very good team. They're 10 games over 500. They're going to make the Western Conference playoffs. They're going to be a very tough first round matchup. And this was without Devin Booker and Jalen Green. Like when Devin Booker's healthy, they're a completely different team. But you just have to tip your cap to the defenders. Grayson Allen is a guy that I've kind of wanted on the Pistons for quite some time just because he's a really good three-point shooter. Doubt Phoenix trades him whatsoever unless you just like work up like multiple first. But I doubt this front office is going to do that for a role player in Grayson Allen. But yeah, like the second half, like 39 points just won't cut it. I 100% agree with you. I felt like they've really exerted a lot of their energy, especially in the third quarter, the first like 4 or 5 minutes where they got it down to like a 3-point deficit. And then you go like 6.5 minutes without even scoring a basket. Felt like just all the energy was kind of zapped out. And you got to worry about Golden State tomorrow. I still have Steph Curry and those guys in Golden State on a nationally televised game. Michael Porter Jr. is probably the best option, I'd say, for a three-point shooter. I guess the league hates Beasley not letting him sign. So it's a two-part comment from Cam. I would say like the Michael Porter Jr. conversation we've had quite a bit on this podcast. I would say I think the asking price is still 2 first-round picks from Brooklyn and some young players. So it just really depends if this front office believes that Michael Porter Jr. can really elevate this team to possibly compete for a championship in an Eastern Conference that is wide open. Like with the Jason Tatum news that came out, sounds like he's not going to try to come back this year. Other reports from Chris Haynes yesterday that he's just going to sit out this year. So I think a lot of Pistons fans were wondering, like, where will the Celtics be at when Jason Tatum comes back? Looks like he's not coming back, but you still have the New York Knicks that have kind of figured it out. They're back in the number 2 seed, tied with Boston right now. Cleveland has put together some good games. Toronto still a good team. The East is very, very competitive right now. Um, I'm not really sure if you trade for Michael Porter Jr. where you would like stack up because like not to say that like what he's doing in Brooklyn isn't worth talking about or worth even discussing. I think it is. But I think in terms of like a 3-point shooter, I think if you're just looking for 3-point shooters, there are some out there that probably wouldn't cost you 2 first round picks. I know we've made a podcast previously about some, lower tier guys that wouldn't break the bank to trade for. But I think MPJ is one of those guys that I think a lot of teams around the league are keeping an eye on. Brooklyn might get desperate towards the end of the trading deadline on February 5th and just like lower their asking price. I know that's what Chris Mannix said this week on Golick and Golick. But it'll be interesting to see like what happens with him. I don't really know if he's in their long-term future plans. But to kind of get back to your second comment about Malik Beasley, I guess the league hates Beasley for not letting him sign. I think the Beasley situation's a tough one for sure. We haven't really gotten any type of updates. I believe if Malik doesn't sign with the team by like March 1st, because it's like a CBA rule, then he can't sign at all. I don't know if his case is going to get decided by March 1st. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know a situation. I don't know what the NBA is investigating. I think a situation is definitely frustrating. I've kind of moved on because I don't really think it will get solved personally. Because I mean, it's taken this long. Like, I don't really think another month or two is really going to change the NBA's mind, especially with the way they kind of drag their feet on these cases. Like, I look at Terry Rozier and how long that took to even get somewhat even like talked about on a national level about him like kind of going to court. I really don't know what's happening with him. Wishing him well. Hope he is well because I'm sure it's really hard on him not playing basketball, but I'm sure he will get some offers overseas if he does want to take them. But yeah, his situation's tough. Praying for him. Want to get into another comment. This team isn't making it out of the second round. If it stays like this, Kate can only do so much. Asar is terrible on offense. He's passing on layups. So a couple of things to kind of dissect with this comment. So I think as constructed, this team isn't making out of the second round. That's your comment. It depends on the matchups. It really does. I do agree. Cade can only do so much. I mean, he is the head of the snake of this Detroit Pistons basketball team. Him and Durant can only get you so far. I do agree. I think Asar tonight wasn't as aggressive as we've seen him lately. I just don't know. Asar's very fascinating to me because some games he comes out very aggressive. In other games, very passive in a sense where he's not really looking to put the ball on the floor. He's not looking to just try to dunk on somebody's head. It's weird. I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if it's just certain looks he's getting at the basket where he feels like he better pass it versus like just trying to be over aggressive. Um, I know he's not a finished product whatsoever, but it is kind of like frustrating as a fan when you're watching him because like you see like peaks and flashes of him when he's aggressive. But yeah, tonight, like he was just like really bad offensively. I do agree. Gonna need a little bit more than 6 points out of your starting small forward in this one. Camden has another comment. Suns have a great defense overall. They also made Cade work more and they gassed him. Moving Javante Green over Sasser is kind of concerning. I don't really think Javante Green got more minutes than Sasser. I think that's kind of been his role. Like him and Ron Holland are usually the small forward and power forward off the bench. I think the Sasser situation is like you have Danis, you have Ivy, and then Sasser's kind of like in the middle of that, like whatever JB kind of wants to like play him, but he hasn't really played Sasser whatsoever. It's kind of weird that he hasn't, but I mean, it's a coaching decision at the end of the day, you guys. I'd like to see him play a little bit more, but that's just kind of like nitpicky. For me personally, I know like we want to see like Sasser play, we want to see Ivy play a little bit more than 7 minutes. But again, it's just a coaching thing at the end of the day. I know they're good, but I'm disappointed about the loss because we got our ass beat and they were missing two of their best players. I feel it, man. Like when you're watching a game like tonight where you just saw Phoenix 2 weeks ago and you handled business, you kind of contained Dylan Brooks. I believe he only scored 16 points and he fouled out when the Suns played in Detroit 2 weeks ago. But tonight was a different story. He was just really aggressive, getting to his shots. I mean, just some of the shots he was making, you just kind of have to tip your cap to him. But I mean, yeah, it sucks because like they were without Devin Booker and Jalen Green. But Jalen Green hasn't really played too much. Like he came back and then hurt his hamstring again, which it kind of sucks. So like you don't like to see players like get injured like that, but you do have to kind of just take advantage when teams are injured, like they did against Denver Nuggets. Like you have an opportunity tomorrow. Like Jimmy Butler is not going to be available against the Golden State Warriors. Warriors tore his ACL, but Golden State still has Draymond Green. They still have Steph Curry. They still have players that can go out there and just ball. And I don't think that's going to be an easy outing whatsoever. Like I think the odds for tonight's game, when I was looking on FanDuel, it was a -4. And the odds for tomorrow's game have the Pistons as only a 1 point favorite. That just tells me they believe the game is going to go down to the wire. They believe that the Pistons are going to go into Golden State tomorrow, and it's going to be a back and forth game. I'm excited for tomorrow's game, but I think a back to back from Phoenix to Golden State, and then they give them one day off, and they got to play again on Sunday against the Brooklyn Nets. Really tough schedule this week, but it'll be interesting to see what does happen. Is Levert out due to trade talk or really ill? I don't know, Piston fan 11. I really don't know. Like, I had to look. So, Karis Levert's last game was against the Boston Celtics. He's been ruled out with illness since then. Um, it's really easy to speculate because it's January 30th as we're recording this podcast. Trade deadline is February 5th. So, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the Pistons are trying to see what this team looks like with Danish Jenkins playing more of Karis Levert's minutes. Maybe he is actually sick. I know he did participate at shoot around, but he didn't suit up tonight. I think it's really easy for us to speculate that the Pistons are looking to trade him. I think his season has been very up and down and underwhelming, in my personal opinion. I think it's a movable contract, though. It's only like a mid-level exception if the Pistons kind of want to package him to a team that could possibly want him. I think he's still valuable. I just think the role that the Pistons have given him, it just doesn't really mesh well, in my opinion. I think he's more of just like a scoring guard. Pistons kind of have him as like a facilitator and just kind of set stuff up and like occasionally try to make a 3-point shot. But it's the Karis fit has been like weird since the season. Not to say that I haven't enjoyed it. It's just been like really weird. Wishing him well, really am. If we make a trade, how far do you think they will go, and how far if no trade is made? That's a tough question, Wes, because I don't know what types of trades that they're going to make. Like, we could play hypothetical. Like, let's just say they address more 3-point shooting. Let's say they get another 3-point specialist, right? I think that the team could definitely get out of the first round. Depending on who you match up in the second round, I think it'll be a competitive series. But again, I don't know who they're going to trade for. Let's say they make a big splash. Maybe it's they say, okay, Michael Porter Jr., come on down. Trey Murphy, come on down. Um, I think that does raise their ceiling, but it might take some time for that new acquired guy to get acclimated and get used to his new teammates. I think that's such a great question by you, but I don't know. I'd have to actually wait to see who they actually trade for. But I do think they will make moves. I do think they will upgrade the roster. Trajan is a very smart general manager. I think we have come to understand like he's not going to make any rash decisions whatsoever. I think he will upgrade this roster, you guys. I just think he's just weighing all his options out. He's not going to say no to um, any option. He'll do his due diligence, make a call, and see what it'll actually cost to get certain players. But I do expect this team to make moves. I'm just not entirely sure what the moves um, will be. I'll ask after the fifth. Yeah, man, ask after the fifth. Maybe I'll have a better answer for you. As long as they dominate the paint against Steph and make him work, good chance we win. Can't allow turnovers either with how they play defensively. Yeah, like the Golden State game is going to be a good one, Cam. I can't wait for it. Anytime you get to watch Steph Curry, like you just have to appreciate him because he's not going to be playing for too much longer. Same with like LeBron and Kevin Durant. Like grew up with those guys. As a teenager and later into my 20s. I'm now in my 30s. But yeah, as long as you take care of business, dominate the paint, limit the turnovers, don't shoot a crazy amount of threes if they're not going in. Like tonight, like I think you shot like 20% from three. Like you got to do a better job of just kind of generating better looks, in my opinion. But I think Golden State will definitely be a good game, and it's an ESPN game. So cool that we're getting on ESPN. I truly believe JB has to be aware about learning how to control rotations of his team. He gets lackadaisical and not know how to clear matchup on the floor. Stacy, I personally think like the rotation thing. Some nights it's just like complete chaos. It'll be like 12 deep, and other nights it's like 9 deep. I think it's just playing to the strengths of the players, and I think he just kinda goes off of, like, whoever is feeling it. But I do agree, like, I think certain games you do see, like, players, like I don't mean to pick on him. I like Duncan, but, like, if he's not making shots, you should probably look to sub a player in that is capable of making shots. Now, I don't know if you sub Jaslyn Lear in this game, does it change anything? Do you make a couple more threes? Probably. Are you really losing that much defensively? Probably not. Jaslyn Lear isn't a lockdown defender, but I would probably say he's on par with Duncan Robinson. He's just giving up a few inches because Duncan Robinson's like 6'7" and Jaslyn Lear's like 6'3", if we're going to give him that 6'3", 6'4". But I think it's just a situation where definitely he's learning, I believe. It just I think he kind of just gets stuck in his ways, and no coach is perfect. Like I think if we're nitpicking rotations and we're a 34-win team right now, that's a good problem to have. But I do think as we kind of get closer to the end of the season, that rotation's not going to be 12, 13 deep. It'll probably be 9, 10 at the most. And he'll kind of roll with those guys. But I do appreciate you guys coming on in, even after a Detroit Pistons loss. We will do another post-game podcast on Friday. We'll have a post-game post-game podcast on Sunday, and then I'll be doing a podcast on Saturday. So you guys have podcasts from me all weekend. Get used to it. Definitely gonna be doing a lot of podcasts this season for you guys. I think we're doing like 4 to 5 a week, but love doing these post-game podcasts with you guys. Love talking Detroit basketball with you guys and NBA just in general. But I'm gonna wrap this up. Hope you guys are staying warm, staying safe out there. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.